I'm here to tell you that the world needs your authentic self-expression. It doesn't need another Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey. It needs you. Your gifts, your talents, your unique expression. You. Think about your day for a minute, all the opportunities that you have to express yourself. From the clothes you put on in the morning, to the conversations you decide to partake in, to what you decide to share, post, like on social media, all of it is a form of expression. Now I pose the question, when we are choosing those clothes, those words, those posts, are we doing it from a form of authentic self-expression or from a place of what we think we should be doing? And I know it's sometimes hard to navigate the two between authentic self-expression and a should. I know this from firsthand experience because I am a recovering contortionist and not the Cirque du Soleil type, but the people-pleasing, seeking approval outside myself type contortionist. So I know that navigating authentic self-expression and doing what I think other people think I should be doing can be a challenge. But I wholeheartedly believe that it is what it takes to make the world a better place. All of us showing up with our authentic self-expression. How do we do that? And is that even realistic to do that 24 hours a day? Well, I'm not going to stand here and say that I have all the answers, but what I can do is I can share my experience, a story, and a glimpse into my toolbox, as I like to call it, and share with you 7 tools that have helped me navigate this twisty-turny, often challenging, but meant to be enjoyed, life experience. And for the most part, these tools have made it possible for me to bring my authentic self-expression to the world. So let's get started. Tool number 1, turn off the noise. I was going to call this turn off the voices, but because we've just met and I didn't want to scare you off, I decided to stick with noise. But seriously, doesn't it sometimes feel that there are multiple conversations and voices happening in your head? Sometimes I literally have to say out loud, shut up. Because the voices that are clamoring the loudest for attention are the ones that are saying, no, you can't, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. And that noise limits our authentic self-expression. I'm so grateful that years ago I didn't listen to the noise because I never would have started a nonprofit if I had done that. I had 0 experience, but there I was, sitting across from my attorney, signing the 501c3 status paperwork. Instead of listening to the voice of, no, you can't, I listened to the voice of, there is a need, and you need to meet it. And I am so glad that I did, because I can't imagine my life without the WIT teens, some of whom are here today. I can't imagine my life without them. Now, it's not just the noise in our head that we have to quiet, it's the noise in our day. I mean, think about your day for a minute. How often you're on the phone, watching TV, listening to music, and I'm not saying any of that is bad. I mean, I have the shows that I have to watch. I'm just inviting you to unplug. Maybe instead of listening to music on that run, you listen to the sound of your breath. Or maybe instead of listening to music in the car, you just enjoy the silence. I do believe that it is in these places of quiet and in silence that ideas start to build. And I truly believe that those ideas, quite possibly, could make the world a better place. So here's to turning off the noise. All right, next, number 2, set boundaries. And I know we've all heard that before, but why do you think it's important when it comes to authentic self-expression? Well, I think it's important because in order to access and offer our authentic self to the world, we've got to take time to get to know ourselves without distraction. And we need to make sure that we are only showing up for people, events, and jobs that let us come from an authentic place. Okay, when I talk to my guy friends versus my girlfriends about setting boundaries, it's very different. Because when I talk to my guy friends, it goes like this. So Scott, when it comes to saying no, is that something that you have and before I can even finish, he says, Sarah, I don't have a hard time saying no when I want to say no. When I talk to my girlfriends, there's some sighing, a little eye rolling, and why is it so hard to say no sometimes? Now, I am not going to begin to analyze the differences between men and women. That is not what I'm talking about today. But what I can share with you is that one of the most important words in my vocabulary is no. Why? Because when I'm saying no to something in my life, I am saying a resounding yes to something else in my life. With every no, I'm offering time, space, and opportunity for things to come in that allow me to bring my authentic self. All right, not my story. Okay, this one is just a favorite, so that's why I kind of wanted to get to it. This is something that I came up with my dear friend, Aaron Biller, who is also here today. And it became our response to conversations that we would get in that would go like this. Well, we would hear people say things like, "It is so impossible to find a job," or "I'm never going to meet somebody," or "There's no way I could ever run a marathon." Not my story. The idea behind it was that may be your experience. That doesn't have to be a part of mine. With every not my story, we were claiming ownership and authorship of our own life story, taking our power back. I don't care how many statistics that you've read about how hard it's going to be to find a job when you graduate college, or meet somebody in your 30s, or have babies in your 40s, or find funding for a startup. That does not have to be your story. You are the author of your story, and you get to decide. Is it going to be a tragedy or an adventure? And if you are in the middle of writing a tragedy, I suggest you turn the page, start a new chapter, and become the hero of your own story. All right, next, lighten up. My dad gets credit for this one because he continuously reminds me that life is meant to be enjoyed, and that helps me lighten up. He knows that I have a tendency to go down the over-analyzing rabbit hole when it comes to certain things in my life, and I love that about him. He doesn't like me to get down there too much. So he once told me that the natural human disposition for humans is joy. I've never forgotten that. You know, sometimes we think we have to run around like all stressed out doing really, really important things and feeling really, really overwhelmed because somehow we bought into the idea that that is what success looks like, or that was what was necessary in order to be successful. But it's not. The approach to life that is the, woe is me and I'm not this enough or I'm not that enough, that's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, it'll get you somewhere, but it's not really anywhere you want to be. So lighten up. Take a load off. Let it go. Is there something that you have been ruminating about? Maybe days, weeks, months, years? Is staying in that space really allowing you to bring your authentic self to the world? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being sad or allowing time to grieve. I think that's essential when it comes to authentic expression. I just want to point out that at some point you gotta look in the mirror and say, it's time to get your happy back. So, what makes you happy?
Music.
All right. I love hip-hop class. So, every week, I go to hip-hop class. And sometimes I feel like I don't even want to go, but then I get there, and then the music starts going, and the rhymes start going, and I'm just like, I'm in it. And nothing can take away my joy. In the morning, when I walk my dog, I sing out loud. The good news is I know different paths in my neighborhood to go on, so I kind of just do that. And nowadays, it just can look like you're talking on the phone, right? But I sing out loud because it feels good. I also love adventure and travel, so I try to carve out time for that. What do you like to do? You got to figure it out because you, lit up, burden-free, joy-filled, is what the world needs in order to make it a better place. All right, next up. It's a choice. Okay, this is like the best response for so many things in life. You ready? Stay on the couch or go for a run. It's a choice. Stay angry or let it go. It's a choice. Close your heart or keep it open. It's a choice. No one is to blame for your circumstances. You are in charge of your story. So, your best friend gets your dream job. What are you going to do? You going to get angry? Or are you going to go out and create another dream job? The thing about this tool, it's a choice, is that it comes with a warning label. It may cause more accountability and self-responsibility than you're used to. Because there's no one else to blame. Everyone is off the hook. So your friend got the dream job. What are you going to do? Maybe it was because he or she had a skill set that you didn't have. Are you willing to face that, work on yourself? Or are you going to blame somebody else for your circumstances? It's a choice. The idea of realizing that everybody is off the hook and there's no one to blame is something that you're going to find either invigorating or terrifying. It's a choice. Next, commas versus periods. I think this is actually one of my sister's favorite tools, but it's never place a period where God has placed a comma. And if hearing God makes you feel uncomfortable and you want to replace that with life or love or universe, go right ahead, but God works for me, so I'm going to stick with that. Never place a period where God has placed a comma. Out of our incessant need for closure, clarity, facts, I feel that we're inserting more periods in life where we really should be putting commas. You know, a comma is meant to signify a pause, a breath. But I think out of our discomfort with ambiguity in the not knowing, we're placing periods. And what's happening is that we're ending things before they've really had a chance to begin. Or we're passing judgment where we really don't need to be doing that, or drawing conclusions that aren't even based in reality. All out of our inability just to sit and pause and listen and then be led from that place. Think about some of the successes that never would have come to be if people placed periods where they really were just commas. Spielberg, rejected twice from USC Film School. I think he turned out okay. Oprah Winfrey, once deemed unfit for TV. And the author of The Wizard of Oz received so many rejection letters that he created a journal called A Record of Failures. So, what success is in you? What is a success in you that is wanting to come out? And are you allowing time? Are you giving enough breath, pause, space for it to come to the surface? Here's to more pauses, breaths, and listening as we work to bring our authentic self-expression to the world. All right, express, not impress. The idea behind it is that oftentimes we walk in this world with this need to impress instead of coming from a place of expressing our genuine self. And I think that when we walk in the world with a need to impress, we walk in the world with this desire to get likes, get the guy, get the girl, get the job, get the success. But when we walk in the world with the desire to express, we are walking with a more giving vibe. The acts of expressing love, kindness, forgiveness, all come from a place of what we think we can give to the world. And oftentimes, I think, in my own experience, when I'm more focused on what I can give, I actually get a lot more in return. Now, I would encourage using this tool when it comes to utilizing social media. All right, when you log into Facebook, does the red notification symbol on the top have any impact on your level of self-esteem? Heard some mumbling out there. What about ratio of followers to following on Instagram? I saw a hand in the back. Nice. I like the audience participation. Well done. What about posting a picture and not getting exactly all the likes you thought you were going to get with that picture? I was once told that I would have received more likes if I had shown more cleavage in a picture. I thought, you can keep your likes, I'll keep my self-respect. I was recently introduced to this term, social capital. And it was mentioned in regards to people, teens in particular, that are so focused on numbers of likes, followers, shares, comments. And it made me think of something a teen said to me once. She said, "Miss Hernholm, it's all about having a high number." This was her response to my question of, why would you be friends with somebody on Facebook that you don't even like, or that doesn't even like you? I think a question that I would like us all to ask before we post something is, am I doing this from a place of wanting to express or impress? And impressing isn't just something that we try to do online. It's something that we get caught up in real life conversations. You know what I'm talking about if you ever get sucked into those conversations where you just kind of start like one-upping each other. Now, lately, I'm hearing it a lot around the busyness, okay? So it kind of is like, I'm busy. Well, I'm like so busy. I'm like super, super busy. Well, I'm super busy and I am tired. It's like, okay. So how about we try to like change the conversation a little bit and think about what we can give to the conversation. And perhaps in those more meaningful exchanges, we'll get a chance to really see one another's authentic self. All right. There you have it. A glimpse into my toolbox. I have many more, but it doesn't, I'm sure actually you probably have tools that you use. Systems, nodding the head. Okay, good. A set of systems, values, or beliefs that help you navigate the world. It doesn't really matter so much what they're called. It's just that you're using them. And in using them, they make living a more joy-filled, authentic experience. But if you'd like to borrow some of my tools, they are there for the taking and the borrowing. But please remember that the world needs your authentic self-expression. So turn off the noise. What's one thing you can turn off this week? How about negative self-talk? Set boundaries. Sometime this week, say no to something that is not serving your authentic self. Not my story. You are the author of your story. That's so exciting, and you get to decide whether it's going to be an adventure or a tragedy. Lighten up. Find something that makes you feel lit up inside and reminds you that life is meant to be enjoyed. It's a choice. Bye-bye victim. Hello, victor. Commas versus periods. Here's to embracing ambiguity, allowing more pauses, taking more breaths, and listening. And express, not impress. I have said this many times already today, but the world doesn't need another fill in the blank or the next fill in the blank. It needs you. It needs your authentic expression and the gifts that only you can bring to it. A teen asked me recently, she's here today actually, Danya. She asked me when we were getting in the elevator after class one night, Miss Hernholm, have you always been like this? Like what? I said, because this could go, go either way. A strong sense of self, of who you are. At the time, I think I said something like, yeah, I think so. But after giving it more thought and working on this talk, the more accurate answer would be no. I haven't. I haven't always been like this, hence the toolbox. There was a time in my life when I lived more out of a place of trying to impress and to please. But then I used these tools and I started talking to other people and getting more tools. And I started to be able to have the confidence to lead and to live from a more authentic place. And it is so much more fun. So that's the honest answer there. So I want to leave you with the reminder that the world needs you. It needs you. And I really do feel that if we all came together, maybe shared our tools a bit, because I know we all have some, like this gentleman was nodding over here. And maybe that's really what it's all about, sharing our tools as we each individually navigate bringing our authentic self to the world. And maybe from that place of pure authenticity, together, we will make the world a better place. Thank you.